Like, I found someone else.
Yeah. Is it Jamie?
He's giving me a Mac and an iPhone. No.
Imagine doing a podcast with Jamie. There'd definitely be no dead air. There would be no like downtime like at all.
Imagine listening to a podcast run by him.
It would be like I'm imagining it's just like a hamster constantly running on a wheel at full speed.
Yeah.
Like I would eventually go insane. Like 30 minutes in.
It'd be like,
there's no string. There's no like. He just bounces from one thing to the other so quickly. There's no anything. Oh, Joaquin, straight in. Hey, Joaquin.
Well, you say that.
Happy New Year, mate.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, Joaquin. You say that, but there's like, I've like noticed that there's a trend of big YouTubers having ADHD, and that's not like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably comes with the territory, just the type of job it is, right? Having to be like a different personality on camera kind of probably just develops that a little bit. Whether or not they have it when they're off camera is a different thing, or they just get jittery and have ADHD when they're on.
Well, no, I mean, they get it diagnosed in their adulthood, but I think the sort of work of a YouTuber, I think a lot of neurotypical people fall off it because it's quite intense, like content creation and constantly talking and having high energy and all of that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people with ADHD, that it's the sort of work that kind of can fit them. So yeah, I've like over the last like 3 or 4 years, loads of YouTubers that I watch have just been like, just found out I've got ADHD. It's like, oh my god, all of you, you all, But I mean, good for you, I guess, if that works for you.
I mean, it's all a myth anyway.
It's all a myth. Yeah, that's right.
That was a joke. That wasn't a hot take. That was a joke for anyone who has ADHD.
It's the 5G towers contaminating us with the autism and the ADHD and the gay, all at once.
That's what it is.
Can you believe that was a thing of last year? Was that even last year? That wasn't last year. That was like 2020.
No, yeah, 5G towers were a while ago. Yeah.
There were actual conspiracies that they were like transmitting COVID.
Yeah, dude. I still believe it.
It's such a rancid conclusion.
Which is why, since I've had my jabs, my 5G's been off the charts because I am a 5G tower.
Really? Yeah. You've got Bill Gates in your blood. That's amazing. I always wondered why my data was so good when I was around you.
I just emit 5G waves, dude. And COVID, but you cut your losses. I've got a great signal wherever I go. I'm happy to also spread COVID.
Man.
Yeah, Joaquin. Yeah, I had a good holiday, man. Good little Christmas time. I ate a lot, I drank a lot, and I got some pretty cool gifts. I mean, I'm sure we'll probably speak about that in sort of intro when everything winds in. But yeah, how was your holiday? That was to Joaquin. I don't care about yours.
Yeah, not me. No. Yeah, of course, no. I'll tell you what. Let's jingle on in then while we get things ramping up and we can.
Let's do it. When you
fill everybody in on our really eventful lives. Yeah, it's only our 82nd episode.
Yeah. All right, we're jingling, man.
It really upsets me that when I go to our YouTube dashboard, the last 3 comments I see on our videos were 3 months ago from Michael, the same user. PlayStation is better than Failbox. PlayStation is better than Failbox. PlayStation is better than Failbox.
Yo, my man just
and they were all on the same day. Yeah, he just literally went from video to video.
How old do you think Michael is? He's either 15 or 38. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
It's
that's not a working. Yeah, those aren't the comments of a working professional. Those are the comments of like a middle, what they call it, midlife crisis, or a very young person with no brain.
Yeah, exactly. With no brain.
I'll just shut that in there. Okay. Hey, hi everyone. It's 2023. welcome to the show. This is Quick Resume. It's the 82nd episode, and it's 2023. Thank you for coming. I'm really sick. My brain isn't working all that well, but I think I'm doing quite a good job of disguising it so far. My name's Deck, and that over there is Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim. Hello.
Yes.
I'm healthy, but my brain also doesn't function.
No, his brain does function. He's been so humble. We hope you had a fantastic Christmas time and a pleasant New Year. And I was thinking this, Tim, isn't the period from the 25th to like New Year's Day the weirdest time of the year? It's like I'm just confused. I'm just like full of cheese and chocolate.
Yeah.
And I don't know what day it is.
Yeah.
And it's like the only time in the year that happens.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's like some like weird paradox. Yeah, you're constantly full.
Yeah.
And sleeping.
You're constantly hungry.
You don't know what day it is, yeah. And then you're never sure like what's open as well. Because you're like, what? Like,
yes.
Have they got different hours because of this period? It's like, do I go out?
Yeah.
Like, you just never know, like, if anything's open, and it's just really weird, man. Yeah.
It's stressful because you go on their website and they're like, "Oh, we're open until 10 today," and then you drive all the way there and they're like, "Oh, we're closed because it's holiday period." I'm like, "Well, your website doesn't fucking say that." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Help a brother out.
It's true.
I want a sausage roll from Greg's.
Yeah, well, Greg's is still open, dude. I went to Greg's yesterday.
Oh, nice. Well, that's good to know.
Oh. Go get your sausage roll.
I'm good. Right, so, ladies and gents, it has been a busy period. It's it's been like 2 weeks. I've tried to condense the news down to what has been relevant. There's been some pretty good stuff, Tim.
Cool.
There's been some talks about Redfall having a bit of an internal delay.
Game's dead.
That's not news. I mean, I know I just said news, but it's it's not official news. People acting out here like the game just got delayed. It didn't. It hasn't been given a release date. You can't delay. No, it doesn't matter. Sony, Jim Ryan, went on the mic about fucking Game Pass, and he was like, it's not even a big deal, is it, mate? It's just like, look, we're at 50 mil subs.
Yeah.
They're only at like 25, mate, at best,
It's true. He's good.
He's a wombat, is what he is, and
the wombat
other things happened. In the wombat hole. Chile approved the deal, Tim. Like, there's other things. Look, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna go through it all now.
Yeah,
idiot. So we're going to talk to you about our Christmas time now and other things. Tim, take us away, please.
Well, so my Christmas period started around the 22nd of December, around 8 a.m. when I woke from a broken sleep.
Wow. I wanted to see where I was going. I wanted that thread to keep going.
Yeah. Mine was pretty good. Pretty standard for me. Did lots of family stuff. I have a fairly big sort of family gathering. Some people came over from Spain, all that sort of stuff. So we had I think I was about 12 people around the house for Christmas. So pretty bulky. And yeah, it was made all that more magical by having my little nephew there. They love Christmas, dude. Little 3-year-olds go crazy for Christmas. They're so sweaty.
Is he 3?
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's 3.
Yeah.
My golly.
They're so sweaty. They're so hyper. Sweaty. And they just love it. It just makes it that bit more magical. I feel just having a kid around for that. It's just
yeah, for sure, because you're trying to keep the illusion up a little bit yourself, aren't you? So you kind of believe it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, so that was really cute. And yeah, just ate so much food. Got my main sort of gifts were just clothes based. So I got I got a new shirt, got some jeans, I got this hoodie that I'm wearing right now. This Marvel hoodie.
Oh shit!
Which is pretty fire.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Are we doing hoodie? Are we doing hoodie cast? Are we?
the nudie cast.
Isn't yours really hot though? Aren't you gonna like start sweating in yours? You can sweat out your illness. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's a good show actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, it's now a nudie cast.
It's now a nudie cast.
And yeah,
sponsor us.
Got that. Got like loads of new like manga books. I got about 6 new manga books. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is that a thing now? Is that a thing that you do? Are you
I do read. I read quite a lot of manga now. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I'm only reading Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer. But I do want to only. But then I've got literally like a whole list of anime I want to watch and read. One of which being Attack on Titan, because I own the whole manga series for Attack on Titan. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I had a good Christmas.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm amazed. That's not the right word. I'm happy to hear that.
I'm amazed you managed to have a good time. That sad,
you miserable old fuck.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I mean, but okay, so that all sounds lovely. But have there been any thinking about video games? Yes, or any playing of the video games?
So there hasn't been much. I get pretty tied down with sort of family and stuff like that for Christmas. But I have been hopping on and doing quite a lot of like cloud stuff. So I played a bit of Octopath on cloud. I played quite a lot of Slay the Spire on cloud because that's just like
I saw that.
Yeah, I've played Slay the Spire like loads already, but I haven't got the achievements on Xbox. And I just booted it up. And the game is it still is one of my all-time favorite games, and it's just you just can't not enjoy it. So
what a game.
I've just been playing that on cloud a little bit, escaping to the toilet away from the family and doing a quick run, a quick hour and 10-minute run on the toilet.
Yeah, you've been up there a while, Tim. My stomach is killing me.
It's real bad, yeah. But yeah, so that's basically been it. It's been predominantly like cloud stuff with Octopath and Slay the Spire. And I've been really, really, really tempted to buy Midnight Suns. Like really tempted.
Oh, have you?
Because my brother got it as well, Dom, and he says it's just insane. He says he can't stop playing it. He says it's really,
very good things.
Good. Yeah, he says it's that perfect sort of blend of like XCOM and Slay the Spire, and he says it's just really cool. And like all the cool characters you don't see in normal Marvel games, like he said, like Blade and Ghost Rider are just so cool to actually like see on screen and play as.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's been really tempting. My wallet has floated out of my pocket.
Been quivering.
Yeah. But yeah, not a crazy amount of gaming, but yeah, getting more into the cloud stuff. But yeah, what about you? Same back to you. Christmas and gaming. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I had a good Christmas. Obviously, this was my first Christmas with my little baby boy. And he did really well. We surprised my grandma, saw her, and then we went up north to my wife's family. We're up there for this week, and they've got a massive family. So, they were like 20 people upwards there, including the kids. So that was still good. It was nice for him to see everyone. And then, we're both starting new jobs, aren't we, in the next week? So
let's go.
We're both sort of getting ready for that. So I've been prepping for that a little bit. Threw my phone in the toilet, which was a bit annoying yesterday. Not by accident, I should mention. It wasn't like I wasn't target practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that. No, it was good. I had a good time. It was a good Christmas. It was nice to spend it.
Good stuff.
As a family. Yeah. Are you amazed?
I'm amazed.
I'm amazed. On the gaming side, I completed High on Life.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw your little Twitter review on it.
Yeah, I completed it. I had a good time overall. I had fun. I did definitely find, and it's one of the things I said on Twitter, that some of the dialogue wasn't like, it was funny. It was a funny game.
Yeah.
But like some of the comedy I didn't find it always translated that well to a game. Like, I feel like there was some gags they did which were good. Like, these were the gags they had at the beginning, when they're in the storyboarding phase, and they were like, this is funny because this is a video game. Like, killing the kid at the beginning, yeah, that's funny. There's a guy, like, when you get out to the sewers, he's got like a broken leg, and then every time you go back, he comments about it. He's like, yeah, leg's still broken, I'm the broken leg guy. That's funny. There's some gags like that. There's the Mac and Cheese brothers with the building side. You get there and they're like, whoa, hey, what you doing here? What you doing here? Yeah, they're funny, and they're like pushing you. They're like pushing you away. And there are a handful of gags like that which are great, but then there are some of them which is just like, some NPCs just are ad-libbing at me. They're just improving at me, and I'm like, are you like, should I stay and listen or should I go? And it just goes on and on. I'm like, is there a punchline coming, or like? And I just found that because it's a game and I'm not watching it on a screen, like, as a TV show, I'm like, I don't know when this ends. Like, but then you walk away and they comment about it. They walk around, they're like, I wasn't done talking. So I'm like, was there more? Like, I'm so confused. So like, some of that I found didn't translate well, and I actually found that a lot of that ad-libbing sort of humor in the dialogue was at its best when it was on the TV in the game. Like, a lot of those shorts are really funny because I'm not standing by an NPC asking myself what I should be doing. Like, if I just need to sit here for 5 minutes to listen to the whole thing, or if if there's a punchline coming. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Yeah, some of it just results in just wasted time because it results. You sit there for like a couple minutes and nothing comes of it. And it might have even not been that funny, sort of thing. But then it always creates that, like, it's almost like FOMO, isn't it? When you walk away from them and they're like, I wasn't done, and you're like, oh, did I miss a funny joke there, or like, did I miss something?
Yeah,
it's like, in reality, no, you didn't. And it just it becomes this weird, like, this weird limbo of like, do I stay there and potentially waste time, or do I just come to the conclusion that most of them are just talking shit? And it's it feels like a living world. So when you do walk away from someone, they just make a comment like, oh, well, thanks for listening, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But I do kind of know what you mean.
So some of that I don't think translated as well as I thought it would, because I thought it would have been sort of a perfect match, but it it wasn't always perfect. There is some like funniness with the gunplay, but it really isn't that bad. Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it doesn't take away from the experience. Like, I've played games like this before where actively, I feel like I'm fighting the controls. This doesn't have that, and I do think some of the like mechanics in the game like are genuinely quite novel and quite fun. Like, the fact that everything's cooldown based, I thought was really quite interesting. Like, rather than Doom where it's like ammo based, because you just cycle through your guns. That's what I was doing anyway.
Yeah,
found that made for some really fun experimentation, because the game's like, use your cooldowns, like, use them all the time, have fun with them. And then on top of that, some of them, like the whole juggling mechanic that they introduced at the beginning of the game with Kenny, like, I think that's really fun. Every time an enemy goes into you can like pop and run. It had some real Bulletstorm vibes. And then what was the other one? Oh, the shotgun guy fires out like a disc, and it's like kind of like a boomerang, and it'll always come back to you, and then you can melee it back. And so you can like you can have this like cool tempo in the fight where you fire the disc, you get a couple of shots off, and then the disc comes back to you, you hit it away, or you can even advance as you hit it, knowing it's going to come back to you every time. And I just thought those were some really cool novel mechanics. I haven't seen anything like this before.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So they just worked. So overall, I think I said on Twitter, I'd give it somewhere in the 7 to 7.5 region. I think that's probably fair.
Yeah.
I think the ending was like, they didn't come together all that well, to be honest. And also, I didn't like the dialogue things they tried to force you into. Like, every now and again, like, they try and force you into a thing where you have to side with someone.
Yeah.
And like the story. And it goes on and on and on, and it's like, I don't need to be doing this. It's not getting me anywhere. I don't see the point. So,
plus, I don't know if that actually results in changing like an ending or a path or anything anyway.
I don't think it does.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but good overall. And I also started Pentiment.
Let's go.
Yeah, I started it. I'm probably like 5 hours in. It's very good. It's very good. Yeah. It is very good. It's very smart. It will make you feel really dumb to begin with, but the game has like because it's like whatever, what is it, the 16th century Germany. It's like at the time where when the Roman Empire, the Roman Catholic Empire was still large, and I didn't know this. That Germany was like one of the main proponents of the Roman Empire. So they were following Roman Christianity. Germany was, which is weird because they're different countries. And it hadn't even occurred to me. I was like, I don't know. It was just I'm not a history buff at all. I'm really bad with history.
Yeah.
But they do this really good job of like every time there's like a word or something that they feel might not be known to their audience, you can hit back and it opens the book up that you're playing in. You're playing in a book, and there's like a glossary in it. It would be like, oh, this is what this means. Because let me tell you, some of the language back then, Tim, was fucked.
Really?
Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. There's a place in Germany, in 16th century Germany, called worms, right? Okay. Worms, like earthworm, worms, right? And there's also something called a diet. I don't know. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably not. DIET, diet. And they kept talking about the diet of worms. The diet of worms. And like, this doesn't
yeah.
So anyway, as it happened, I went through the glossary and had a look, as it was happening. And a diet back then was essentially like a parliamentary meeting back then, before there was any real established.
Maybe it's pronounced diet.
When it was, yeah, very well maybe, but it's like a meeting of like the constituents of the land, the elite, and the church. So it's like it was like a 3-pronged kind of meeting to decide kind of the laws of the land, essentially.
Yeah.
And the diet of worms is this really famous meeting that happened in the 16th century to decide what was going to happen next with the church reformation and things like that. But like I couldn't I'm just glad the game explained that to me. I was like, what, is it good for you or something? Did they think, oh, it's idiots? They thought it was good for them for they worms, So it is like really educational. Like, no joke, it's really educational. You'll learn a lot playing the game, unless you specialize in 16th century Bavarian, Germany, the church. So yeah, and I was quite interesting because I was reading that a lot of people found the first 4 hours really slow. Everybody knows that, it's a murder mystery game. That's not a spoiler. And everybody says to give it a chance, go get to the murder, because it is a bit slow up to them. But I didn't find it was slow up to then at all. I was just like taking everything in, because there was just so much to absorb, really. But for sure, it's a text game, and I've got to admit, I was, as much as I was happy that the game received really well, and I definitely wanted to play it, I wasn't sure how I was going to cope. Like, there's no voice acting, it's a reading game. It's like a visual novel. There are some mild gameplay elements here and there, and I will add as well, Obsidian are like, they're so good at like there's you pick your background and your specialty, what you did at university, and when you it comes to these crescendos of how your decisions are going to affect the story. And Obsidian are just so good at this. They'll be like this with the Outer Worlds as well. The game, they have no problems just telling you did this and that, and this is the outcome you get as a result. And they just tell you that. It just gives you a bar and it says you agreed with them here, but you disagreed with them here. You showed them some care back then, and it shows you like +1, +2, +3. And I really like that. I think that's just it's hallmark Obsidian. They're just really good at making these branching narratives, the decisions that impact the story. Anyway, so it's all of that. It's wonderful. And I think it's very concise. I guess if anybody's out there and you're not sure if it's for you, maybe you kind of like the era or are interested, they hold back quite a lot with the words. There's a good amount of reading there, but it's not like paragraphs on paragraphs on paragraphs. It's like chat boxes back and forth. I've played wordier games, like Wasteland, for example, was a game that ultimately I fell off because I felt that was too wordy. There was too much to read, even though there was a bit of voice acting. So anyway, big for me. We'll see how it goes, but I'm I'm really liking Pentiment so far, and it made a lot of. I was listening to a lot of like top 10 lists for the year, and podcasts and stuff. It made a lot of top 10 lists across the industry. It seems Pentiment. So nice. Big ups to Obsidian once again.
Yeah, no, yeah, it sounds like I mean, yeah, based on what I know of it, yeah, it definitely sounds like they made a bit of a splash with that game. So, and yeah, I mean, as we said before, the versatility of a team like Obsidian is crazy to me. That they could just make games like this, just out of nowhere. It's just like,
grounded.
We just had, we just had a crack at this text-based 16th century fucking murder mystery.
Yeah, Germany murder mystery. Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, it's pretty crazy. I definitely think they're probably one of the most versatile development teams in the world. Probably, they're crazy. They're so good. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, cool. So that's been me kind of on the gaming side.
Nice.
So
how long is Pentiment on average, like to complete?
In my head, I've got it that it's like 15 to 20 hours. Okay. So it's not short by any standards. It's like a double A length,
which is good, because I think if you played a game like that, which is text and a lot of reading and a lot of figuring out and stuff like that, I feel like if it did drag on for like upwards of 30 hours, people would start to get kind of sick of it. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think it's smart to put it around that sort of level, but I don't actually know. Maybe I'll just type in a what is it, that website? How long to complete or something?
How long to beat? Yeah, I just had a quick look, and 15 to 20. Get him up.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Well, that's that. So, I mean, I wanted to, before we get into the news, because there's a handful of topics for us to go over, but I feel like it would be doing the whole community, the whole world, even maybe an injustice by not talking about 2022 as a whole for Xbox. Yeah. Now, the way that's in the rear view mirror. We're here now. We spoke about that. Was that your back?
That was my back.
That's a throwback to early Quick Resume there. Yeah. Disgusting. Yes, we'd be remiss to not talk about sort of where we were at and where we're going now. So Timmy, I want to know, on reflection, how you felt about the year 2022 for Xbox. I mean, I guess that's probably a fair analysis. Yes, for Xbox 2022 for Xbox. What are your thoughts? You personally, don't listen to anyone else, the detractors. What you think?
I think that Xbox has done fine in 2022. I think that it wasn't fantastic and it wasn't bad at the same time. I feel like there was a lot of preparation work that was done on Xbox's end this year. I mean, I'm actually struggling to think of obviously you had like the Grounded full release and stuff like that. We had Forza 5. Was Forza Horizon 5 this year? It was, wasn't it? Or was it like at the end of 2021?
Late 21.
I'm just trying to think what actual like first party hitters we had this year. There was, I think they were. There weren't many.
There's Grounded and Pentiment.
Yeah. So not fantastic on that behalf, but I do think the upkeep of Games Pass has been pretty good this year. I definitely wouldn't say Games Pass as a result of a lack of first party coming out. I don't think Games Pass has slowed down. In particular, I feel like we've had a steady stream of games. I was going to say steady stream. A steady stream of games coming in quite consistently into Games Pass, to the point where I still have too much to play.
Yes.
Gaming is my main hobby. So I definitely don't feel like... I feel like the subscription has still been absolutely worth it for 2022. But yeah, I mean, when you think on like the the hardware perspective and first party perspective, yeah, you can't help but say it is a little bit negative from Xbox, and it does bring it down a couple points. But if I were to sum it up and give it a score, I'd give it like a solid I'd give it like a 7 for the year. Like I don't think they've been exceptional, and I don't think they've been bad either. I think they've just been pretty good. And with 2023 around the corner and all the prep work that came with 22, I'm hoping next year will be up there at like your 8s and or 9s, in terms of having 3 to 4 hopefully decent first party games slapping and reviewing well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but yeah, that's how I'd sum it up, I guess.
Yeah, and there is, I think you're right, because there is this kind of overall, this sentiment that Xbox's first party was really weird, and like it was, and like don't get me wrong, that does bring value to the console, because usually first party stuff is exclusive, and usually, well, no, always, it's day one in Game Pass, but half of that equation is what's in Game Pass. Like if. Like a game, a good Xbox game that's not my taste, or maybe not my taste, that doesn't come to Game Pass, might as well not count for anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
If that same game comes to Game Pass, all of a sudden it does count, because it counts for something, because I'm excited to try that. Like, I don't know if it will stick, but I'm excited. It was like Pentiment. I wouldn't have bought Pentiment, I don't think.
No.
But I'll play it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Same with Grounded, right? This is the exact same thing. So I think ultimately, and we've got to remember that because the business strategy has changed, I think also like consumer satisfaction, like the kind of barometer for that has changed a little bit. It's not all about, to me, exclusives anymore. Like I would take one less exclusive in a year and have 3 more good Game Pass games in a year. Do you know what? I would make that trade.
Yeah, 100%.
I want both, of course, but like that, I think that just shows how much how good the service is, because we get these sort of games day one. I'm just trying to think of some other ones. Gunfire Reborn,
Ship of Fools.
Tunic was beginning of the year. We bought Ship of Fools. Nobody Saves the World. I played a bit of. I didn't finish it, but I know these are popular games. Obviously, Plague Tale was big. I loved Immortality. I did like Scorn. Didn't love it.
Yeah.
But overall, there's so much value in so many games I played in Game Pass. It would have been nice to have had something, and I guess maybe this is the crux of it. It would have been nice to have something.
Would have been another one.
As Dusk Falls, I meant to say that. Yeah, just a good show. I loved As Dusk Falls. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Which wasn't first party, but it was Xbox publishing, so that is an exclusive. So that was a good one. The crux of it, I feel, is maybe the fact that Xbox still hasn't had I don't think it's mass appeal console showcase. I think
no,
that's the problem.
Yes, there's definitely still a lack of presence from Xbox this year. They just need the whole like showcase that we had, where they were like, everything we're talking about is coming in the next year. That was great. But when was that? When did they do that?
That was June.
That was June. Yeah. So I think with that potential internal Redfall delay, I hope that still comes out before June. Otherwise, that's embarrassing.
Well, I suppose at least May. So yeah.
But yeah, that was great. But that was kind of it. After that was it. Xbox was just like, we're not talking to you for the rest of the year. Like, I feel like that was the last time we heard from them.
It was other than Pentiment, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and it was just, I just really feel like it. There was just a lack of presence from them, and we just need this like you said, this show, this cadence of them just appearing and telling us what's coming, and just being more transparent. I think that stuff goes a long way, even if you're just announcing like like this isn't actually coming until blah blah blah, or this has been pushed back, or this is earlier. Just giving people dates and letting everyone know what's coming keeps people interested in Xbox coming up. And I feel like we've really lacked on that this year. So
yeah, and like I've also seen some sentiment as well that maybe 2021 was like it set up a bit of false expectations, because 2021 is regarded by the community as a really strong year for Xbox. A couple of nuances here and there, a couple of wrinkles, because technically Deathloop was starting exclusive, technically Psychonauts 2 was multi-plat. Don't call me now. Now's not a good time. All of these things. Halo, came out the gates really strong. But since then, it's really struggled to keep it alive. All of these, things that you can kind of do, gymnastics around. But ultimately, it's considered by the community as a good year. And earlier, I think it was earlier that year, or it was late 2020. I can't remember. A lot of the execs were really puffing their chest out. Like Matt Booty was sort of saying, if we're really struggling to even find time to put all these games in the shows, and then there was nothing in 2020. It's 2022. It's just like, well, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Where did they go? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Did they get sentient and run away? So some really advanced games you're making. So yeah, I think there's that as well. There's kind of like a clash of expectation. But I'd largely agree with you. I would in fact say it's a good year. Like there was this clip of a streamer going around. I don't know who the streamer was. I'm sorry. And this isn't personal, but I think it's just like it speaks to the wider crowd, saying like, man, what a shit. 2022 was such a shit year for games. God, nothing happened. And
just for games in general,
like,
across everything.
Yeah, games in general. And it's like, I beg you to play something that is not AAA. I'm down on my knees. Please, because it was a great year.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic year. Even like if you look at all of the games that released, I'm not just talking about Xbox and Game Pass being. I'm talking like there were indie darlings like Cult of the Lamb, something like Tunic, Immortality. Then we had things like Plague Tale. I know I'm missing a number of other things as well.
You had this was a good year. Like Neon White and everything like that. That all came out this year, didn't it?
I think that was this year. Yeah, I think it was this year. Yeah.
On
the Nintendo side of things.
Yeah, there were loads of like AA and indie titles and stuff like that came out were just absolute bangers. Yeah.
That's right. So, if you're that sort of gamer that really, has their and there are many, this isn't a jab, but if you have your console and you only pick up 1 or 2 games a year and they're just the big games that look really good, then yeah, like by all means do that. But like, don't you're wrong. Like you are wrong. Like if you're going to then, broadcast to the world that it was such a terrible year for gaming, it wasn't. Maybe for AAA games, but like, there's a lot of enjoyment to be found elsewhere.
Yeah, it depends on the style of gamer you are, and a lot of people, do only buy AAA games, and they do only buy these big blockbuster titles. That's fine. You probably actually find quite a large chunk of the gaming market is that player that just does that.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, you can't help but kind of agree at this, but then you could also just be like, just expand your horizons a little bit and you'll probably find something you'll love. Right. But then equally, they might try that and heed our advice, and they might find it's a waste of time and they didn't enjoy these games that we like this year, because they are just those blockbuster type gamers. So yeah, it's appealing to everyone, and it's impossible. No matter what market you're in, you can't appeal to every style of person that consumes your form of media. Such like an official sentence.
I was like, it's coming to an end any second now.
I was just trying to end it, but I didn't want to sound so formal. I was like, I want to say it, but I don't want to say consumes your form of media. Like, that's ridiculous.
There's nothing wrong with that. You sound great. You just take your hoodie off and you've got like a suit underneath, like a tie.
Suit and tie, yeah. Never know.
Yes, no, I'm with you. You're absolutely right. All right, then. Well, let's get into some of the news for this week. Then, where are my notes? There they are. Did you like my little my pictures that I put on the notes?
What?
Do you share it with the group?
Santa giving you got MacBook. Is it Santa just gaming? One of them. This is the random image generator that Deck loves playing.
Yeah, the top one.
No, the bottom one gets me. The bottom one is amazing.
He's such a little gremlin, isn't he?
It's great. It's amazing. But yeah, I've shared it. Don't worry. Everyone saw your brilliance in the notes, so don't worry. Yeah, so David says he's nervous about the $70 being the norm for games. Yeah, I mean 2023 is that's the transition, isn't it? I think 2023 is going to be the $70 game year.
Let's go poverty.
Yeah, I love it.
Bring your poverty in the chat.
Sucks for you, David. I can afford that. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it sucks, man. $70 is a lot, but then that just makes you appreciate Games Pass all that bit more, especially with how versatile it's been, and which was one of the main points that we brought up for 2022. That Games Pass was still very strong. So with that, hopefully leading into 23, you know, the $70 or £70 wherever you are change should hopefully not be that drastic for you. You know. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully. Yeah. Chances of Starfield being quality and amazing are good. Ooh, that's a spicy subject. You know, I'm going to put a pin in that, David. I think there's an interesting conversation to be had there. Hopefully, I'm going to come back around to it later. Remind me if I forget. I have a foggy brain. There's germs inside of me right now, and that is making things quite hard. And yeah, I'm with you, Anorexic. It was a good year. I won't stand for this nonsense, this blasphemy that it was a bad year.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we at? My notes are like really just like all you have to do is load a picture and words. Like, please. Yeah. Okay, here we go. All right. So I want to get it out the way. I want to get the APK stuff out the way. So I'm gonna lightning round these tidbits, and then there's one big bit that I'll touch on at the end. So, first off, Chile cleared the deal. Chile.
Ooh. I always like
Chile cleared the deal. I always like Chile as well. It's funny because the country looks like a chili.
Moving on.
The first pre-trial hearing with the FTC is on the 3rd of January, and it's going to be public, which I think is really funny. So, like, a couple of days, you know, Microsoft are going to be there. I hope Phil just turns up and is the whole time is just on xCloud. You know, he's just in the seats, just like calling to the stand. Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, and he's like,
He's just paying Pentiment. Yeah.
1 sec,
just chilling.
yeah. Vampire Survivors. He loves Vampire Survivors, dude. He loves that shit.
He does.
Public. If you remember, this also happened. The CMA, UK regulatory body, took public feedback like months ago. They were like, "We're going to open opinions to the public because we have fucking know what we're doing."
Yeah, basically.
I didn't. The last console I heard of was an Atari.
Yeah.
I don't.
Are we past the Sega Mega Drive yet? What's going on?
Yeah. What's an Xbox? It sounds like a box for
the Nintendo 65, right?
That's the one. 65. That was my birth year, conveniently.
What, 1965?
Yeah, that's the one.
Because you're old.
I'm cooking. I'm cooking. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So they asked for public feedback, and they've since released, you know, what that looked like. And around 3/4 of the public feedback were broadly in favor of the merger, and around 1/4 were broadly against the merger. They said they had to remove a bunch of the feedback because it was just like slurs and insults. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what would compel someone to go through the government website and just start like punching their keyboard.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's risky.
It's going to be okay. Yeah, it is. And also, this is the final lightning round bit. The FTC, they've been yapping on about how Nintendo doesn't really count in all of this. They're like, oh, it's not really, like they're not competing with Xbox.
Yeah, baby games.
It's not like they're game consoles, definitely not competing,
Yeah, it's not like that. They're doing better than Xbox and PlayStation, like combined. Yeah.
I don't understand. Anyway, they've also very conveniently, like after everybody saw that, and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, okay, yes, we'll give you like a bit of leeway in the sense that PlayStation and Xbox are probably more competitive than like together than Nintendo, but they're all still in the same, they're all still on the same field. They are competing. Yeah. And the FTC have just very conveniently made a new category of consoles. They've decided that in the high performance console market, Xbox could diminish competition. What do you mean high performance console market, guys? What does that mean? What are you going to like when Nintendo announces a Switch 2, probably this year?
Yeah.
You didn't hear it from me. What happens then?
They just plop them in there.
What happens then? I don't understand the thought process.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
It's dumb.
That's not its own category.
No, absolutely not. It's weird. It should just be like consoles, just home consoles in general. Yeah.
And like I know, like the Switch has, like an angle of portability to it, but the Series S and the Switch are near enough the same price.
Yeah.
So like when parents are going, to get the kids their first console, like I don't think it's that clear cut that they're going to be like, oh, get a Switch. Do you know what I mean? I think like there is some debate. Like parents will be like, wow, look at these big boy games. This guy can play Game Pass. Wow, what good value. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's this, like, I understand that Nintendo does its own thing, but I really am just not buying into this idea that they are not competitive at all. They're not competing with PlayStation and Xbox. It's just so ridiculous. And for the FTC to be like, high performance, everyone's favorite category of consoles, high performance consoles. That's what all the gamers call it. I've gone on the forums, on the Reddit, and on the Twitter. Do you know what I mean? That's what they say. Who fucking says that?
Yeah, no, literally nobody says that. I've never once thought of Nintendo to just not be in the race compared to the two consoles, to the PS5 and Xbox. No. Like, it hasn't even crossed my mind. They've just always been there. Yeah, it's weird.
I think because I guess the angle that they're trying to make is that people would buy a Switch regardless of how competitive a PlayStation and an Xbox was. Yeah. There aren't any current Switch owners who would be dissuaded out of a Switch purchase because of the competitiveness of an Xbox or a PlayStation, which I think is nonsense. I think Nintendo has a very loyal, large following that will predominantly game on Nintendo, and that's fine. Every platform has that, but I do think there's some people who looked at all the options and were like, well, once I factor in the first-party library and the exclusives and the portability, ultimately the Switch works for me. But if like, and we know this isn't going to happen, but if somebody was weighing them up and was like, wow, cool, the next Call of Duty is exclusive to Xbox. Whoa, I can get it on Game Pass for just £1 for 3 months. Wow, look at that new controller with a little LCD screen on it that shows me my text. Do you know what I mean? All of that. I said, but wow, I might get this now. Like, of course they are competitive in that sense.
Yeah.
Like they have a loyal following, but so it's just ridiculous, man. I don't understand the logic behind it.
Well, they're just doing it to just cut one person out of the race to make it seem more drastic. That if Xbox were to potentially control Call of Duty, it's like taking all the profits away from just one other competitor rather than two. You know, that's what they're trying to do here. They're trying to make it out so it's worse for Sony, but.
Well, that's certainly what it seems like. I've only just realised that on our YouTube studio, like the live chat, we can start a poll. I mean, I know streamers do that, but I didn't think we had that power. I feel quite powerful now.
Ask people if they like chicken, beef, or lamb. That was a joke, don't. Deck. Actually, you throw pork in there as well. Why not?
Why does it say yes or no? What?
It's only yes or no. Pork, yes. Beef, no.
What does it mean?
Dex, stop. Don't do a meat poll in the chat. It's fine.
Well, ask your community. What do you mean? Why can't I post it? Even like the algorithms, like this is such a fucking stupid question. You're not getting away with this.
Not happening. That's funny.
Okay, great, brilliant. That was a shit. Is it there? Is it? Oh fuck.
Yeah, I think it posted to the community tab on the channel.
No.
Oh, it's here. I can see it. Chicken, beef, lamb, or pork. Yes, no, lemon. Dang. I have to sign in.
It's not important. It's really not important.
No. Okay. Well, at least we figured that out.
I like the idea of somebody watching this afterwards and being like, "What does yes? Beef or lamb or pork? Yes." Oops.
My live chat's gone now.
Sorry, everyone. Oh, why have you done that? Get it back. Your live chat, boy.
Use the docs menu on the menu bar. I got it. You carry on.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, of course. Right. Okay, so that's done. That's ABK done. We know what's happening. We're gonna hear about it. The pre-trial on Tuesday. And that will continue going on, and it will continue to plague our lives, our YouTube channel, really just the discourse of your life, and it will never leave, and it will be like poison until we die. Next story: Jim Ryan isn't worried about Game Pass. Jim Ryan, crying, flying, pie in the sky in, struggling, tongue tying. Nice. Jim Ryan had a little thing that he said, Tim. To quote, he said this I think he said this in an interview. He said, "When we consider Game Pass, it seems to be getting lower numbers. When we consider Game Pass, we've sold more PlayStation 5s in 2 years than they've gathered subscribers, and they've been doing that for 6 or 7 years." He also said, "We're just shy of 50 million subscribers on the PlayStation Plus subscription, and they are in the low 20s, but there's a lot more work to do to grow that number."
I mean, if these statistics are like legit, I mean,
wow,
he does kind of have a point.
I've got a little thing for you. They're not.
No.
Let me tease you in. Not. It's a lie. And also, here's the other thing. You might remember when when the first statements became public after Sony were talking to regulators, they were like bitching and complaining the Game Pass was too far ahead. They were like, you have to stop them. Game Pass, it would take years. It would take years for us to become competitive with Game Pass. It's so far ahead. Look at all these titles they're getting in. We don't stand a chance. And then, of course, in the same year, they released their own subscription service. So this is the problem. Let me break this down for you. They've said that Game Pass has been around for 6 or 7 years. It hasn't. It's been around for 5.
Okay. Oh, to a good start.
I feel like it's a pretty bad, it's a pretty bad springboard to try and jump off. And they've said they've got 50 million subscribers to PlayStation Plus, Tim. What I feel like there's a little wrinkle to that number
because they got their essential plan, haven't they? Which just
they do.
Just has their online features. Little snake, dude.
So my man is writing letters to the regulators like, it's too far ahead, mate, can't do this. And then as soon as he's put in front of a microphone, he's like, boy, we got 50 mil, 50 G's up in here.
It's 50 grand, but
yeah,
no,
50Ks, 50 M's.
Yeah, 50 M's, sure.
That sounds stupid.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I wonder what their figure would be if you broke it down into the fact that, is it PlayStation Plus? Is it anything above the essential plan? It gives you some access to the games catalog. I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Plus, you get access to the catalog, and then premium, you get the backwards compatibility stuff, I think,
and the streaming and stuff. Yeah.
I think so. That's right.
Yeah. So I wonder if you were to break that down and just split off the essential, what that figure would be. It definitely wouldn't be 50 million. I can tell you that much.
No, I can't verify this, but I remember I meant to have a look for the source, but I saw a Twitter user who I do trust, but I couldn't find the source myself because I didn't look. Say that in the regulatory reports they said that their extra and premium tiers were only at about 2 million, which is really low. Obviously, it's a new service, but it's really low. So, yes.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's extremely low.
And it's a new service. So, maybe that's to be expected. I don't know how quickly Game Pass grew when that first came out.
Yeah, probably
I think
quick.
Yeah, I mean, the service has been around for 6 months now, so it's new, but it's not like baby new. And the equivalent, this would be like Phil getting on the microphone and bundling Xbox Live Gold into Game Pass when they're talking about numbers, which is clearly bad faith. It's not like, and that number would be really high. That number would be higher than 50 mil, I think. So whatever. Good job, Jim. You've done it again. You've copy pasted a couple of tweets, and you've really just made a statement about that.
You've just done it.
It's a good look. Yeah. It's a good look. That I don't doubt Jim is a good businessman. Like you got to have some talent to get to where you are at the top of a big brand like PlayStation. But that man is useless in front of a microphone. It's like you put a microphone in front of him and he can't help himself. He just starts chatting shit.
Yeah, his team are probably like behind the curtain, just like, no, shut up.
Where did he go? Like he's like, I'm just gonna go get a coffee, and next door he's like giving an interview.
So stick to the fucking cards, Jim. What's wrong with you?
He's like, yeah. Damn it, Jim. Well, I think this is kind of a good segue. And this was news that just came today, actually, and it was about Xbox Series S and X versus PS5 sales. Obviously, this is interesting. I always have to make this disclaimer whenever we're doing an Xbox v PS5 thing because, like, you know why, but it's like I'm not doing this to frame it as a console war thing. It's just because obviously Xbox fucking blew a load of ass last generation, and this is a good point of reference for us to see how well they're doing. That's and there's no point in me looking at Nintendo because we all know they're up in the sky.
Yeah, but they're not contenders though.
No.
They're not in the same league as Xbox or PlayStation 5.
I think people are just finding Switches. I think maybe Nintendo found a way to like grow them on trees or something, so like it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Can I end this poll now? Yeah, I'm going to end it.
I ended it. Don't worry. I love how even Dave was just like, "Why did you go off topic?" We were literally talking about something, and you were like, I can make polls. I was like, beef, chicken, or pork.
I'm sorry. If I do that, feel free to bring me back on topic in the chat.
Yeah,
especially today. Well, I I have bacteria. Tim, do you know the difference? I'm doing it again. Tim, do you know the difference between bacteria and bacterium? I don't. Why are those two different words?
No,
it's the same fucking thing. Bacterium. I'm gonna Google it.
No. And so David says, actually, you're wrong. Games Pass Ultimate comes with Xbox Live Gold and EA Play. Did you say something about?
I said you're not wrong.
Oh, not wrong.
Not this guy right here.
that could be. I missed out a very key word there. Not wrong. Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's true. Does it come with EA Play as well? Or as it did? Yeah.
You didn't know
that?
It
does. Yeah. I think I am an Ultimate subscriber. I did that thing where I bought like loads of it when it was like cheap.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Well, Tim, let me fill you in here. Don't want you to embarrass yourself.
Not physically.
No. What?
Fill you in is like punching someone, punch them in the face,
like a jam donut. Oh right, yeah, okay, that's fine.
No, not that.
No, not at all. Where was I going with this? Yeah. Ultimate has cloud streaming.
Yes.
To use xCloud, you need to have Ultimate. So yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Right. Yeah.
That's a benefit of Ultimate. So yeah. So in conclusion, bacteria and bacterium are synonyms. Okay, back to topic.
Great, thank you.
Thanks for sticking with me, everyone.
So
so what was I saying?
Sales.
Xbox and PS5 sales, and this is coming from VG charts. Everybody who's anybody, knows that VG charts isn't like estimations. These Xbox have not released official sales numbers for their consoles since 2014, when they got around that time when they got a big old slap on the bottom. From PlayStation.
Yeah.
Really just the rest of the industry. And they were just like, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. And then, they tell us Game Pass numbers every now and then, but they don't give us sales. Supposedly, judging by the estimations that VG charts are putting out, the PS5 is at 10.32 million. And the Xbox Series X and S is at 9.32 million. And this tracks because, the PlayStation raised the price of their consoles everywhere but the US, and the speculation was that it's because the US is actually being quite competitive between the two consoles, where maybe Europe and of course Asia and internationally, PlayStation is far enough ahead where they feel they can milk that.
Yeah,
but this is close numbers, right?
Very close
for a year considering the public message, the public, the optics for Xbox this year have been, what a dreadful year, my God, end of the apocalypse. And those are 1 mil behind with God of War Ragnarok, the biggest PlayStation release ever.
Yeah,
not that bad, really, is it?
It's pretty good, yeah. And I definitely think a large chunk of this number being so close is due to the Series S. Like I genuinely think the Series S's value of money for money is just insane. It's just so cheap. It's such a good console for the price. And when you package that all up with Games Pass, it's just so good. I think if Xbox never released a Series S, I think this number would be, if it was just Series X versus PlayStation 5, I think they'd be quite a bit further ahead than just 1 million. I think having that cheaper edge and another option for a next gen console is kept us in that race quite considerably, I think, if I was to estimate.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I think, again, this is like, there's like an echo chamber around the importance of exclusives. Like, yes, important.
You got a problem.
It's like a new toy for me. I don't think I've been able to use this before. I don't have a problem. You have a problem. No, you.
What were you saying? Your brain is like a shotgun blast today.
I was saying, I think in the Twitter bubble, the online discourse, the article that you see every now and then that's like, wow, what a catastrophic year for it. Xbox, like really those are just kind of amplified hardcore sentiments. And I think really what this shows, I'd argue, is that the brand is a lot healthier and Game Pass is making more of an impact than you think. Exclusives aren't as important as you think. I think Xbox still has the power narrative. I don't think it's like quite, you know, it's not the same as it was last gen with the PlayStation had over the Xbox. They have the power narrative, they have the price narrative, they've got the accessibility and the subscription service, you know, and I think that's actually adding up more than people think it's adding up. And, you know, I'd argue that that's reflected in these numbers.
Yeah, they've definitely gone for the slow burn sort of approach where they've just been improving all these areas to a point where now, you know, they're competing, if not better, and it's all contributing to to just more sales. Yeah, I do completely agree. Because it's just so even if it just comes to the fact of just buying a console and just going from setup to playing, my goodness, I feel like Xbox is fucking leagues ahead. God almighty, setting up my PS5 and linking that, and I actually wanted to blow my brains out at one point. I gave up for the night and I went to bed. Like I literally couldn't do it. It was just why? Whereas like I bought like a Series S and it was just like, cool, you own a Series X, yeah? You want this for your library? I'm like, yeah, cool. And it's like, sweet. And I was just on and I was playing my games.
Yeah. Now that you're on, here's £1 for 3 months of Game Pass.
Yeah.
We'll pay you.
Yeah, they're definitely just, and these are things that, I feel like go unnoticed quite a lot, but they do mean a lot, definitely.
For real. Well, that was an interesting little tidbit. That was half the press. That was just today. And for some reason, I'm not logged in on Twitter on my Mac right now, which really worries me. Because I can't log in, which really worries me. Because I always worry that we miss like a big break. Like, what if Xbox like announced, you know, that they're acquiring us, or I guess we probably maybe know. Like,
maybe that's those calls that that were coming through. You were just like, go away, it's Phil Spencer. You're sending Phil Spencer to voicemail.
Hello, is this Deck at the Quick Resume podcast? Yeah. Wow, hi Phil. Fuck, I'm such a big fan.
Like a barber, but we are. Barber? What about you? I said Obama, not.
I said a barber. You may know me as the head of Xbox, but I cut a pretty mean short back and sides.
Yeah, definitely.
What a cowlick.
I'm your guy. All right.
Yes. There was something I was going to say, but I've forgotten it. Sorry. Okay, next up, Tim. Something Kojima said. Kojima said in an interview, just in these last few weeks, he was talking about his upcoming game with Xbox. You know, that fucking vague thing that he said in the showcase where he was like, yeah, I'm making a game with Xbox. It's got cloud. Yeah. It exists. Yeah, that's right. I'm like, you know, there's a couple of lines of code. I've written my name and the date on the document.
Yeah.
It counts. And we're speaking about that a little bit. And he just spoke about really how, and you never really know with these things, but his words were, he said that it was ultimately Microsoft who felt understood his upcoming Xbox exclusive, which I think is really interesting because that suggests to me but because we've heard a few different things. We've heard that this was the previous Stadia game that he was working on. He was working with Google, and obviously they fucked up, so he's out. But also, for sure, when that happened, if that is this game, he went to PlayStation first.
Yeah,
they have an established history, like, and that, you know, they clearly looked at it and thought, nah, not for us.
Yeah,
and I just find that kind of interesting and kind of worrying at the same time.
Well,
to be honest with you, I kind of trust Sony's sense of quality.
Yeah, but then if it is this whole like cloud and streaming game and stuff like that, you know, Sony weren't really big on that. back when this might have been pitched, they didn't really have anything in the market or any plans to really do game streaming or to do anything like that, or at least do it as well as Xbox were. So maybe that's why they were just like, oh, we'll just take a pass on this for now. Work on your other exclusives you've got for us. That
is true, actually.
Yeah. So whereas Xbox, I feel like, are further ahead in this sort of race for cloud, for cloud gaming. So.
Yeah, that's right. And, so obviously we don't know the details, but we don't know if Sony ultimately were like, we don't have the tech to accommodate what you're trying to achieve here. Because I do kind of feel that PlayStation would have moved mountains to get another Kojima exclusive, because that would have, if they had 2 Kojima IPs exclusive to their console, that kind of, Kojima is one of the few names, like alongside Todd Howard, that gamers, like the casual gamers, know those names. It's like Christopher Nolan. Do you know what I mean? It's like, those names as directors. And to have that name almost exclusively associated with your brand, that's kind of a big deal. Even if the game is like maybe tepid or like so experimental that, there is a creative risk there. So yeah, like maybe there was just a degree of like, we can't facilitate this. Like we just don't have the services, rather than it being any sort of indication about the quality.
Yeah. I also think Kojima is a good indication of the quality as well. He wouldn't be pitching this idea of a game unless he thought he could do it or it would work properly. I think he has standards to uphold as well. I don't think he's just showing off a shit game and Sony were like, nah, pass.
Well, yeah, for sure. And like he has a good track record, doesn't he, Kojima? But he does wacky stuff, and this is like, by the sounds of it, it might be the crown jewel of wackiness. On the wackiness pyramid, it's on the wackiness tree, it's the Stegosaurus at the top of the tree. I have a Stegosaurus at the top of my tree. That's why I said that. I have a Stegosaurus at the top of my tree.
Naturally, yeah.
Yes, naturally. So the other side of this, very quickly, is that if it is a piece of shit, if Kojima is making playable shit, I think Xbox would still take him up on that deal, because Xbox wants to have that, have his name under their. They wanted to announce it at the showcase. So it was a big enough deal where they were like, "Oh, we don't have anything. Not even a title. Not even a working title. It was just Kojima." Do you know what I mean? Like it was that. That's how much they clearly value that partnership. So I don't think Microsoft would swat anything away from Kojima, really.
But then equally, if it turns out to be bad, it's just going to soil. It's just going to be like, oh, he worked with them once and it fucking flopped. He's never going to work with them again. But
well, I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't see why Kojima would blame Xbox for his bad game. I think if anything, Xbox, like, because of Game Pass, they will accommodate really weird games, even if they get mediocre aggregate scores, like Scorn or Immortality. I would say is a bit kooky. That's a bit fun. A full motion video game, but the game's a blast if you're into that or willing to give it a go. So I think that's the thing. Xbox can kind of always hide behind that a little bit, like it's like the cloak of invisibility. They're like, well, it doesn't matter. It's creative. And they vanish and they walk out the room.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
It's experimental.
We're in.
Yeah. Okay, that's Kojima. I'm getting hot. Are you getting hot? I'm getting quite hot in this hoodie.
I'm all right. Sucks to be you.
I won the poll though.
Did you? Were you the only vote though?
Yep. I didn't. I can't vote. But thank you, whoever out there chose the Rick and Morty hoodie. I really appreciate that.
I don't trust you, David.
But guys, if you're still here, if you're still listening, it's been an hour and 14 minutes and 13 seconds. We'd appreciate a like if you haven't done so already. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you want to hit the notification bell, I don't think anybody ever does that. You do it though, that would be cool. I think people say it helps the algorithm. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they say. So now I'm saying the same thing. Welcome back to the Parrot Podcast. Right, Tim, next story. what's happening. This was a thing. This was a really fun thing, right? That I don't think I saw really anybody else talking about. This is an entirely original take from me. Me and my big brain.
Really?
You ready?
Okay.
In a filing, this isn't technically an ABK thing, so don't like shit yourself. In a filing to the FTC, Microsoft said, here it is, exactly word for word. Xbox anticipates that three future exclusive titles, redacted, and redacted, all of which are designed to be played primarily alone or in small groups, will be exclusive to Xbox and PCs. I find this highly interesting, and I have no idea why no one is properly analyzing this, because immediately what everyone said, Tim, was, oh, well, they're obviously talking about Redfall, Starfield, and Elder Scrolls, because, they've kind of publicly... Right.
Yeah.
It's publicly known that Starfield and Redfall are exclusive.
So why redact it? Yeah.
Why redact it? In this very document, in fact, the Starfield and Redfall are mentioned.
Yeah.
It's not secret. It's not secret, is it? They're exclusive. So
Wolfenstein and Doom, let's go.
Right. So this is, I find this very, very interesting. And also, the second part of their sentence there is all of which are designed to be played primarily alone or in small groups. This is obviously, the Xbox taking the angle that big online games are better off being multi-platform, like Call of Duty, like Elder Scrolls Online, like Fallout 76. These are Minecraft. You play these in big groups, or they have a big already existing following, and therefore, it's not really beneficial to us financially to make them exclusive. They're saying here, alone or in small groups. Interesting, because small groups could kind of maybe refer to Redfall. Like, I think they have spoken about Redfall in those terms before as well, like it being a small group or solo game. But that obviously doesn't rule out anything in the future being a small group game. So these are obviously, so Bethesda titles. So yes, my question to you then is, like what's happening here? What are we talking about? 3 future exclusive titles. Like, what could we be possibly talking about? And bearing in mind, these are presumably Xbox have a name for these games already. So I'm assuming this isn't. But maybe it's not. Maybe they could be referring to a new IP here. But what would be your guess if you had to kind of break this down? What are they talking about? Am I on the right track here, thinking that they could be talking about 3 exclusives that we actually haven't had confirmed yet? Or am I loopy? I am quite loopy.
So this is only in regards to Bethesda, is it? Bethesda, ZeniMax?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, immediately what pops to mind and what would redact is potentially like a the next Wolfenstein or like Doom or something like that. Could be exclusive. Those are designed to be played alone or in small groups, whatever. Potentially, I was thinking potentially that new MMO that ZeniMax are working on. The potential what people are hoping is the Mandalorian MMO or something like that. But then that goes against the philosophy that Xbox like to keep these MMO games multi-plat. So potentially not at the same point. I don't know.
So you're back again?
It was my back again, yeah.
Carry on.
Or maybe it's just maybe it's stuff that we're just not aware of. Like they're aware of, but we're not. It's hard to it's really hard to say. I don't know. What do you think?
So if we're right, and they're not referring to Starfield and Redfall here, this entirely hinges on that. And if that's true, I've got a bit of a deductive breakdown for you. You ready? Put on your little deer hunter. Is that what Sherlock hat? Is that what it's called?
I wouldn't know. I have no idea.
Deer catcher? Deer splatter. It doesn't matter. Put your hat on. Your thinking hat.
You rhymed there.
Good buzz. I think, because remember, Xbox is playing the game here as well. Like, of course, they don't want the FTC to think of them as this hostile, as making a lot of exclusive games. So they're trying to minimize their damages and maximize their, like, generosity and, make it make sense with their model. And, they've spoken about single player games are more likely to be exclusive because, of the reasons we just spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason I say that is because there are only 3 Bethesda games that we know of at the moment that are announced.
Yeah.
There are only 3. And that's Elder Scrolls 6, that's been announced.
Yep.
Officially. Wolfenstein 3 hasn't had it hasn't really in a massive official capacity been announced, but Phil, the community manager, I can't remember his name right now. It's glossing over the top of my head. I'm talking about he's got Pete Hines, got it. Pete Hines said Wolfenstein 3 is in the works, but I can't give a timeline. He's said that in a press release,
Yeah.
It's happening. It just hasn't been officially, it hasn't come from, we haven't got a trailer or anything.
Yeah.
But we know it's happening. And the other one is Indiana Jones. So there are only 3 we know of. You've said Doom, something like Quake. These are just rumors and speculation. So I think really, if I was Xbox, I'd be playing dumb with all of those other games.
Yeah.
I'd be playing dumb, they don't exist yet. Because that way, then they don't have to commit to saying, yes, something will be exclusive or no, they won't.
True.
If they're just, so that way, because if FTC really wants to, they can dig through and find that these 3 games have been announced and they can press them for it. They can be like, is this Wolfie 3, Elder Scrolls 6, Indie, what are you doing with them? And Xbox can be like, well, they're all single player games. Therefore, it fits into the model that we just spoke about. And we're probably going to make them exclusive. Anything else, like you said, maybe there's NMX one that is an MMO or it's a shared world, I think, light, there's a Destiny in terms of the group size and everything like that. I would just stay silent about that because if of course they want to make a game like that exclusive. If they start yapping on about it now, then FTC are going to start pointing out contradictions in their statements. And I suppose maybe you could argue the toss about what's Destiny compared to something like Elder Scrolls 6, MMO versus a shared world shooter. Is there a difference? I don't know. That's not really the point. The point is I think how Xbox is just playing the field.
Yeah.
Am I making sense? Am I making sense, or have I descended into delirium? Okay,
so you're saying the only ones that they would have been made aware of, even slightly speculated that they exist, are the ones they would have mentioned there and redacted. Everything else, if there's been nothing official, hide it. Yeah, and that makes sense. Yeah.
The only vague exception to that rule is Elder Scrolls 6, but they haven't officially confirmed one way or the other if it's going to be exclusive or not. I think Phil just said that he said, I can't remember his exact wording, but it was something about focusing on it being on Game Pass or something like that, or being exclusive to Game Pass. So unless Game Pass ended up on PlayStation, etc., etc. So that's my thinking. I could be entirely wrong. Maybe this just has been redacted for whatever reason, and they are talking about Starfield and Redfall. Because if that is the case, then they're playing extra super dumb. You know what I mean? If they are talking about Redfall, Starfield, and let's just say Elder Scrolls, are they just going to ignore the fact that Pete Hines has mentioned that Wolfenstein 3 is in development? That way, if the FTC want to, they can really press Xbox and be like, "Well, you've said this in development. What are you going to do with it?"
Yeah.
And I think that would be problematic. That would be genuinely, they wouldn't want that. So those are my thoughts.
I think it makes sense.
And yeah, and it really, I think it really leans into this whole thing of what Xbox had originally said when they acquired Bethesda, it's going to be a case by case basis. And what does fall into that category, what doesn't, what are the rule sets they're going to follow. And more, it's this is the first year we're going to see that really come to fruition. And if we're just going to go by the releases and what's official, so far you could make the argument that it's just new IPs that they're going to make exclusive because Redfall and Starfield. But Xbox is saying here, obviously, if it's more of a solo game or a small group game, well, we've got a good rationale to keep that exclusive as well. So we'll see how it pans out. But it's definitely adding fuel to that fire, and I think there's good reason to believe Xbox might be a bit more aggressive with exclusivity than we had maybe originally thought. I didn't think that they would make Elder Scrolls or Wolfenstein 3 exclusive, for example. I don't know if they'll have a say in Indiana Jones because it's under the Disney contract and it technically was signed just before the acquisition.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, sorry, I just muted my mic because I was sniffling and sneezing.
Oh, sorry. I really hope I don't infect you.
Yeah, me too.
That's how it works. Yeah. Okay. What have we got left? We've only got a couple of things left. So, and the next thing being Redfall. So here we are. I'm sure there was a really professional way that I could have tied this all in. Alas, I am not a professional, and I'm full of bacterium. How about absorbed and absorbed?
Absorbed and absorbed.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Absorbed sounds like a Rick and Morty word. Doesn't sound real.
Yeah, no, it does. Like the absorb station or something. It's like where you go to have your eyes sucked out.
Yeah.
In a non-sexual way.
In a sexual way.
If anyone knows the difference between absorb, hit me up in the chat.
No one will.
Look, I'm very pensive when I'm sick. Anyway, doesn't matter. Tim, Redfall apparently internally had a target to launch in March. I think we have spoken about this before because I remember going to Google Images and just putting it in the thumbnail. I've done the same again. I'm not scared. You can't silence me. Apparently, it's been pushed back to May internally. This is so the only real interesting sort of analysis. That's what we do, right? We analyze things. Is that originally Matt Booty had said that Redfall was coming before Starfield. Mm-hmm. And this has led people to conclude, oh, well, Starfield's going to get delayed again. It's going to get, and that would mean it's going to miss the 12-month mark. Oh, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. Tim, give me some thoughts about all of this. Is this okay with you? Is this bad? May is also the month of Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom. Bear that in there. Bear that in mind. And Diablo's also in June. Bear this all in mind. Tell me what you think. Go.
Yeah, I mean, it's not doing itself any favors with its second. This is its second delay, right? Because it was supposed to. Has it had a public delay already? It has, hasn't it?
It had a public delay. Yeah. This isn't. This is just an internal delay.
So this is potentially its second delay, which is not a great look. No one wants to delay their game for a second time. And yeah, I mean, I think the biggest issue with this, it would still be within the first 12 months if it came out in May, the 12 months of when they were talking about it in the showcase. So it still hits that mark. And we've always said delays mean they work on the game more. The game ends up being better. Great. If it needs more time in the oven, fantastic. I think the biggest issue with it is those two things: is the fact that it's launching in the same month as Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and just triggered everyone. And Diablo, because this game is, at least it started off not hitting fantastic on the marketing front. And people didn't exactly get that buzzed about it. They didn't really know what it was. Arcane games don't tend to blockbuster sell, even though they're fantastic. And now you're releasing it in a close proximity to Zelda and Diablo. I'm not sure that's a concoction I'm on board with. Yeah, it's not a great time to release it if it does get delayed to there. I'd like a couple months between Diablo and something else, because then people could still warrant a purchase of this game, even though it's Games Pass anyway. Which is actually a good point. Maybe Games Pass, because of these things. I'm talking about this, looking at it from the perspective you're paying for a full price game, close to the launch window of something like Diablo. So maybe with it being Games Pass and this first party Games Pass, being a thing, maybe people will still download it and give it a go and play it regardless how close it is launching to something else. But yeah,
that's right. I think, you know, I guess maybe we couldn't. How did you feel about the close launch of Forza Horizon to Halo last year? You know, that happened. The only I guess wrinkle was that Halo got released like what was it, 4 weeks early or something, 2 weeks early? I can't remember. Like ended up being just a week after Horizon. Like, do you feel that took away from the excitement of Forza, or like what do you think?
I don't think it really did, because I think those are very drastically different games. So I don't think they really cross over too much in terms of, you know, competing with one another. Where something like Diablo and Redfall and stuff like that, they could be compared in the sense that they're kind of like co-op, like play with your friends, RPGs, there's loot, you know, there's all this sort of stuff, you know. You can kind of compare those two and think, which one do I realistically want to sink more time into? Whereas I don't think the whole Halo Forza thing really took away from each other that much.
Interesting. Yeah, I think like there's something to be said about both sides of it. I do think, like you said, I think Game Pass does lessen the impact of close proximity games. Like, it's not as devastating.
Yeah.
Because that it was a first party title anyway. These games are going to be on Game Pass like forever, unless they decide to start rotating games out at some point in the future, which I do think they will. By the way, just, you know, prepare yourselves for that.
Yeah.
Those games are going to be there for a long time, and so they're going to get plays, you know, eventually. I mean, maybe there's something to be said about the launch window and that generating, you know, more excitement and downloads. But at the same time, like, yeah, I think Xbox always have a pacing problem, man. Like, you know, whether we're talking about backloading all of their games into the back end of the year, like, people just want time to play their shit. And there's something to be said about the zeitgeist of playing something on day one. So to like have years of us doing fucking podcasts and people getting excited and talking about, you know, games just for them to all release on each other's toes.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit annoying because it's kind of like, well, I kind of wanted to give each game its time, you know, if I like, you know, if I'm going to spend time in it. So yes, like I totally get it. I think I think it continues to be fine from a business perspective, but from a consumer perspective, it's a bit muddling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of annoying. You know, especially when the games, like I said, are like Redfall and Diablo. Like, I want to put a considerable amount of time into both of these games. And I feel like I might not be able to do that with Redfall as much as I would have liked. With Diablo just around the corner, I feel like I'll have that honeymoon phase with it, and then I'm just gonna be like, you know, Diablo. Like, you know, my chips are for Diablo being a better game than Redfall. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Yeah, it does kind of suck.
Yeah, which I've got to admit is kind of interesting, because I think I'm probably with you, but I don't know why I'm with you when I know that like Blizzard have struggled with their game releases in the last 5 years.
They have,
like, critically, and Arcane have never struggled critically. So, but
yeah.
It's just like it's quite interesting. But having said that, we know Diablo appeals to us, so that is, and it's looking great. But it's just interesting. Yeah, and I think there's something to be said as well, Tim, about like multiplayer titles being near each other. I see this with Sea of Thieves, and I've seen this with Halo as well, of like friends wanting to, like, trying to drag their friends back onto the game that they had fun with in the first week or whatever.
Yeah.
But they've moved on to the new thing now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like multiplayer games, and I know Redfall, of course, has the solo co-op. You know, they can do both, but you understand my point.
Yes.
It can have a bigger impact on multiplayer and co-op games in particular.
Definitely. Yeah. 100%.
Okay. So while we're on the Arcane train, the voice actor for Colt and Juliana in Deathloop, we're doing a little sit-down interview thing, pretty informal interview, and Colt's voice actor accidentally said that him and Juliana are still working with Arcane on something new. It was very obviously a fuck up because my guy's eyes went wide open and he started whistling to pretend that he didn't say anything. and he then said, "Did I just say something that I wasn't meant to say?"
Oh God.
So this kind of begs the question: if they're still doing work with them, what is it?
Maybe just. I mean, my first thought is just an expansion to Deathloop, right? A DLC.
And I think that's a fair guess. I think like Arcane have a bit of a decent history with doing expansions. I don't think they did one with or DLCs. I don't think they did one with Prey, but they did one with. They did a couple with the first Dishonored. They did Death of the Outsider with Dishonored 2.
Right.
Good shout.
That was amazing.
That. Moon Crash. Yes, yeah. Nobody bought it, but it was amazing. I haven't played it, but I know it's critically, revered. So they do have a history of doing DLCs. I think that stands to reason. I think it would be a bit hard because Deathloop's such a self-contained game.
Yeah.
So here's my thoughts. This isn't a spoiler anymore because this has kind of been publicly confirmed. And it's more of a universe thing more than to do with the actual story because I know you haven't finished it. But the ending of the game very loosely hints towards it, but since the Deathloop Twitter account or the Arcane Twitter account has since confirmed that that Deathloop and the Dishonored universe are shared.
Yeah.
It's a shared universe.
Yeah, I was aware.
I really hope there's just an Arcane verse with Prey as well. That'd be great. I'd love that. They have such cool. Their worlds are just very cool.
And Redfall, chucking some vampires. Why not?
Right? Yeah, absolutely. And so, I could see this going a few ways. Yes, if we're going for the most vanilla answer, I would just say, yeah, this is just a Deathloop DLC.
Yeah.
And if it is a Deathloop DLC, we won't be playing it for a year. I don't think.
You think so?
I think so. I'm trying to think if there's another example of this happening. But I don't know if there has been. So maybe I'm wrong, but I just kind of get the sense that if Sony were to make a contract, they would have said, the game and all DLCs are exclusive to our console for a year.
You'd like to think so, especially as like we said, they do DLCs for their games, and they do tend to be quite good. Yeah, you'd like to think that they would have put that in the contract. Yeah, 100%.
So that's perfectly feasible. Really annoying, but perfectly feasible.
Yeah.
My other ideas is that they're recording cameos for whatever the next game is. Maybe they're recording cameos for Redfall.
Yeah,
maybe they're in one of the pocket. Maybe it's just a side mission where there's just a couple of voice lines.
Maybe.
Confirmed shared universe with Redfall. Spicy. Maybe. I lost my train of thought.
Dishonored? Something to do with Dishonored?
I've got to spin up a poll. Apples or pears? No, it was in the same vein. I think it was in the same vein. Yeah. Or it's a something standalone to tie together the universe. And then maybe they just lean into that fully, and it's it is technically a Deathloop expansion, but it's something to tie all the games together.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of cool. That's kind of interesting. I did really like Deathloop. I wouldn't be sad to see more. I've said this before on the podcast. I I never get single player DLCs. Like really rarely. I just can't be bothered for the most part.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I tend to, because they always come out such a long time after the game, and most people have finished that game or dropped off and moved on to something else. So it's very hard to get yourself back into that game again. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you with single player DLCs. Yeah.
So to like on some level, you know, I would prefer it to just kind of be cameos for something new.
Yeah, that's definitely more spicy. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's come towards our last story for the day then, Tim. How long have we got? 1 hour 40. This is your final reminder before you get off the plane. Check your baggage, check under your seats, hit the like button, and subscribe. Thank you. Okay, let's go. At the beginning of the show, we spoke about how we felt about 2022. We're now speaking about 2023. We're looking forward, and there's no better way to do that than a spicy little tease from semi-famous community member Clobbrell. You know the guy? His icon's the squirrel from Conker. Conker, that's his name.
Yeah.
That's always his icon, and that's how you know the guy. So what he said in a thread in a Reset Era is he replied to someone who had said, and this was following the news that Redfall had been internally delayed. Someone had said, "I'm not expecting first party until May at this point." And Clobbrell said, "You're already wrong then. This could be straight shooting. This could be easy guess, right? Is he talking about Age of Empires?
Yeah,
we know that's in the first half. Is he being ported to console? You know, is he talking about Ara, History Untold? Or I don't know. It's not technically first party. It's publishing. I don't know. And that's only having a tech test in January. So will that really be ready for first half before May?
I wouldn't say so. No.
Is he talking about Forza?
Oh, what, Motorsport?
Forza Motorsport.
Yeah.
That's got to be this year. I think we even got a 2023 release year. I don't know if we got a window.
I don't think so.
Is it Starfield coming first before Redfall?
True. Yeah.
Is it Minecraft Legends? It's technically first party.
It is.
That actually is.
It is.
It doesn't seem like it.
Could be. Very well could
Mojang are in fact a first party studio. A lot of you always forget. So silly. Or it's, of course, you know, the spicier take is that he's referring to something which is unannounced and is going to be, you know, revealed earlier on. I personally feel that it's one of the 6 other things I mentioned.
I think it's something we've heard
Forza in the first half of the year. Yeah, that's right. Maybe Minecraft Legends in the first half. I could totally see that. And the reason I guess I say that more than anything else is because if they do have something spicy planned for the back half of the year, you know, we've spoken about a possibility of a Hellblade 2 or an Avowed, like that's the end of year clapper, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think Forza is going to be at the end of the year for that reason. I think they want a strong mass appeal game at the end of the year for Christmas, where possible.
Yeah.
So, you know, there might be some other unannounced first party stuff. I think Jeff Grubb had recently said that Tango are working on something a bit smaller that's due to be revealed at the showcase.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'd be the first party release for Tango.
What is the date for the showcase? It's in Jan, isn't it? What is the date for it?
It hasn't been announced. Supposedly it's January.
Oh, okay.
But it hasn't been announced.
Yeah.
Supposedly it's January or February. We don't know. Does it exist? I don't know. Hopefully we'll hear about it soon.
I hope so.
And then there's things like, there's still like other project names that we know are coming from, like, again, under publishing. So, you know, technically are they first party? Like Project Belfry? You know, you might remember us talking about that sometime last year.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll have to see. But at the very least, we can. I think at the very least, we get a sense that the year is going to be spaced out with games from first party, and that's good.
Yeah, I hope so.
Even if Forza's not for me, Xbox needs that positive PR. You know, if they have that showcase in late January and they're like, we're kicking off the year with Forza Motorsport. Look how gorgeous this is! Wow.
Yeah.
You can live your carbon-emitting dreams in this game forever, and that's coming out in March or April. Like, that's pretty good. You only have to wait like a month or two. Like, great.
I mean, my spider senses are putting me more towards. I think Minecraft. I don't know why. I just think that Minecraft Legends game could be the one that comes out in the first half of the year.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But maybe it's both, right?
Yeah, maybe it's both. Genuinely could be.
It's good vibes for Xbox for sure, especially if Minecraft Legends reviews well. You know, Dungeons reviewed kind of well, but you know, I think it could have. I think it maybe missed its moment a little bit, considering it's a Minecraft IP. You know, if it reviewed a bit better, I think it could have really been like, wow, look at this Minecraft spin-off. Wow, this is so fun. But it kind of was like, yeah, this is a baby Diablo. I'm sure it'll get better. And like, there's so much in that game now. And it is still Baby's Diablo, but there's a lot of Baby's Diablo there with a lot more depth if you want it. So hopefully, I hope they kind of get this right with Legends so that it is a bit more critically successful, because day one into Game Pass for those games is a big deal. You know, not exclusive, obviously, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And so to really wrap up the show then, following this post, Clobbrel left his Magnus Opum for 2022 before the year ended. And if you've been following Clobbrel, you know he's a hype man. He's an incredibly talented graphic designer. Like, Jesus Christ, oh my god! Like he did some of the how do they call it? He did some of the graphic work for Xbox, maybe for their last E3 or the Tokyo Game Show or something. He did like the key art. That's what they call it.
Oh, okay.
He's really good. He's really, really, really talented. But he's also, you know, he's had a pretty good track record of like knowing some things on the inside, and of hyping Xbox quite a lot. Like, I think he took quite a lot of flack because he said in 2020, like 2020 was going to be a real big turnaround for Xbox, and then we had like a really good showcase. We got loads of good reveals, but no release dates for anything. Loads of CGI trailers, and Halo, you know, obviously looked a bit rough. You know, fun, but a bit rough at the time. So he got a lot of pushback for, like, you know, trying to hype the show up, essentially. Unloading the clip is how he described it, which I would agree. I think he was right, but you know, gamers going to be gamers. So this is what he said. There are quite a few release windows for Xbox games circulating in some circles right now. Nothing I'd commit to myself, but things are getting real and serious. When I started pumping my energy into this thread in 2017, 2018, calling how the OP will grow a lot in the coming years early, I always knew the actual results will take time. Did things take longer than expected? Yep. Absolutely. There are various known reasons for that, some caused by Microsoft, some not so much. And while there are already some absolute highlight releases like Psychonauts 2 or Grounded from the renewed Xbox first party, which showed the potential, in 2023, this focus will be really felt for the first time in a bigger, more regular picture. We are just months away from the stuff I got excited about all these years ago, empowered by studios that are free in their creativity to create the most ambitious games they can. I'm talking about actual game releases, both really big and also small, but also reveals scheduled for 2023.
Wow.
There's some excitement behind this little squirrel.
Yeah.
Does he know something we don't? I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So this was kind of the, you know, how I wanted to kind of wrap up the show with, which is kind of, you know, with all of this in mind, what we've spoken about, potential January showcase. We've already got things like a exclusive Starfield, and that's not. I just wanted to clarify this with you, Tim. Like, Starfield is, I think, the biggest game that Xbox has released, if not ever, since Halo 3. Like Halo 3 was maybe something on the same scale. Maybe I think Gears 5 was really big, and people don't give that the credit. Like, so much shit in that game. But maybe in terms of not just pure content, but in terms of anticipation and maybe innovation isn't the right word. Scope, maybe, you know. So we got the January showcase, exclusive Starfield, first new IP from Bethesda Game Studios. We've got an exclusive Redfall from critically acclaimed Arcane. Something like Forza, top of the genre, best racing sim out there. Kind of that's the consensus, and then maybe anything else that's sprinkled out to the year. You compound that with sort of what Clobber's saying as well, with what we're hearing about in a potential showcase. What are your thoughts going into 2023 with Xbox? Whether it's hardware, it's games, it's Game Pass. Give it to me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I said this quite a lot. I feel like 2023 is going to be the year where a lot of the build up is finally going to just arrive at the sort of like the climax. I do think that what gets me excited about what he said especially is the like more regular, where he used like a more regular picture, which makes me think that it's not just going to be all clumped together. It's gonna be spread out. And he also said, big and small releases, which gets me excited because Xbox has had some fantastic additions to Games Pass with small releases over this year. Some of I'd say the biggest highlight of this year have been the small releases. So it gets me really excited that we're going to have, I feel like there's never going to be much of a break between just having like a big hitter blockbuster first party followed by a couple small ones to tie us over until the next big first party blockbuster with some small additions to Games Pass, and just have that cadence moving throughout the entire year. And yeah, that's really exciting. And yeah, we already know of like the big 3, potentially 4 first party IPs that are coming, and we're extremely excited for all of them. And who knows what might get released following those. I'm sure there's quite a lot going on in the background that we've heard of that might be coming out sooner than we expect. Things like Contraband and all that. We haven't heard from those in so long. Those might get a surprise 2023 release. You just never know. So yeah, I mean, I just think it's just going to be just better in every way. I feel like Games Pass is just going to have just really just regular big and small games added to it throughout the entire year. The value for that's going to shoot through the roof more than it already has. And from a hardware perspective, it's hard to say, but I'd like to see that new controller come to light and actually come out or something like that. But apart from that, I don't know sort of anything too exciting from a hardware perspective. I think the cloud streaming stick and all that, I don't know if that's like cadence for like 2023, but
that's been shelved for now.
Yeah, so. That's what I thought. So yeah, man, I mean, I'm pretty excited for 2023. And yeah, I kind of agree and I'm pretty excited with everything that Clobberall said there. So yeah,
I'm with you. I'm with you for the most part. I guess, and it's just worth mentioning as a side note because you just reminded me that Contraband recently, so Avalanche, devs,
oh yeah,
put up a job listing for a creative director, and God, if that's not fucking worrying.
Yeah, that is kind of worrying. Yeah.
I think Jez Corden had said that he's heard that they're having a bit of trouble finding the fun with the game.
Okay.
So if there's any game that I don't think we're hearing from for a while, it's that, which is such a damn shame because it's like, God, you revealed that early. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's old news. Maybe they wrinkle it out quickly and shuffle some systems around. But I think you're absolutely right. I think there are some things that beyond what's already announced, there could be something that does pop up,
like
and not even something that's been revealed. Right? Yeah, I'm not even talking about necessarily a game we've heard about, like an Avowed or a Hellblade. Like I still think Hellblade potentially pops up at Q4 at the end of this year, which would be a big surprise and would be like a great way to cap out the year. Like that would really get people, that would generate a lot of momentum when you consider that there's also Forza, Redfall, Starfield, ignoring Arrow and Minecraft Legends, because a lot of people will. But even like the stuff that we know is in dev that hasn't been named yet, like we know Coalition is working on something smaller that isn't Gears, and that team's really talented. We know that they're doing it in Unreal Engine 5. We know that Ninja Theory are also doing that other horror game, Project Mara. I don't know if they're all hands on deck for Hellblade or if they do have a separate team running that. Everwild, we don't know about Compulsion's new game, In Exile's new game. The list goes on. Double Fine, if they've had something else on the go alongside Psychonauts. The list goes on and on. So we could, even if it's not a release or something we know about, at the very least, we could now be at that point where we have a cadence of like, we have a big gameplay reveal every show, at least, at least one or two. So we see something brand new. And that's, I think, you're absolutely right. That's what's exciting. And just to compound that, we know that the Xbox has been hiring up people in the marketing department, and we spoke about a content programmer, I think it was called, or something like that. The one of the positions, like they're not hiring these people for no reason. They know that they need to change the way that they're approaching their shows, and they seem to have their marker really stuck in E3. They want to do that, but it's the other stuff and how they approach other stuff, which I think is really important. So clearly, I think that's the way we're leaning. So we'll see. And I'm absolutely with you. I get really excited every time like a showcase is announced, and we never have anything like a regular Nintendo. I watch Nintendo Directs with my wife.
Yeah, they're great.
They're fun. Like I'm even though I know I'm not going to be interested in most of what's there, it's just fun. Same with State of Play, PlayStation. I watch most of them. They're like 10, 15-minute gameplay sequences for a game that we've only seen in CGI, maybe not in gameplay before. They're fun to watch. Like, this is the stuff. And once we have that, like, I think that will really sort of get the ball rolling with kind of the excitement of these releases. So, I'm with you, mate. Exciting time to be an Xbox fan, hopefully. Because I think as well, I think the community is kind of out of patience. After thinking, the floodgates had finally opened in 2021 and then slamming shut again in 22, it's just kind of rubbed people the wrong way. So it's time. It's time.
Come on, Philly, do it. But I agree. Yeah, I'm hoping it's the final year. We've been teased long enough, so let's just get these things going. Yeah, exactly. Exciting, definitely.
Excellent. Okay, everyone, we're done for today. We hope that you've had a good time listening to the show. We hope if you're listening on New Year's Day, wow, thanks for joining us. That's really nice of you. If you're listening after New Year's Day, I hope you had a nice New Year's Day, and I hope you have a good 2023 as well. Tim, closing thoughts.
That's everything from me. Yeah, it's good to be back. Welcome to 2023 QRP. I hope everyone had a great holiday period, a great New Year's and everything. Thanks for tuning in. Here's to getting that Xbox January showcase. Cross everything you have. Let's do it.
If you have a third arm, I want that crossed. I want you to cross that arm around your other two arms. So you have a pretzel arm sort of situation.
Yeah, no excuses. Just do it.
Does it hurt? I don't care. Does it snap? I don't know. Do it. It's important. It's clearly very important. Anyway, bye everyone. Yes. Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Have leftovers.